So I'm starting kind of cold. It's been about a year, a little bit more since I did any programming. Anyway, I am going to start a new project. Pretty much got to the end of the one that made this image in my backdrop. Didn't quite finish it, but honestly it did everything I wanted it to. It did more than I had expected it would to begin with. So anyway, I'm going to do a bit of programming this year, and there's a small game that I have thought about for a while, which I thought I might try and at least prototype. I've thought about what sort of programming I'd like to do, and in the more medium to long term, I guess I will write C++ programs, but I'm not going to for this project. Monkey 2 is no longer in development. As far as I'm aware, everything that Monkey 2 does, or everything I need for this project to work, Monkey 2 does. And Monkey 2 does have a sort of, a community developed branch, which if I run into problems I might be able to refer to. This is a simple program, a simple sort of game. I'm not going to go into too much detail about exactly what the program will be until I've sort of made a start, because I am going to use Monkey 2. I'm going to close all this stuff. Monkey 2 can do what I need it to. It'll make it easy to port to Android. In theory, I've made Android games with Monkey 1. Monkey 2 also will deploy to Android, but I've never actually done it, so I'm just kind of hoping that bit's going to be okay. If that turns out not to be okay, then that's a pain in the arse, and I will end up having to do more technical stuff than I can be bothered with, really. But anyway, I'm going to hope it's okay. But mainly this is going to be an Android game. It is a game that's designed to be multiplayer, run on tablets or large screen mobile phones. So I need to be able to deploy to Android. The added complication of figuring out how to do that makes moving to C++, along with the fact that Monkey will do what I need it to. Anyway, that's all my justification. If it turns out I'm wrong about those things, then I'll find that out in due course. What sort of Monkey 2 program I'm going to write is a pain, because I have lots of Monkey 2 code, but it's mainly useless. I hate to say it. I have a large sort of, not a large, but I have a framework of Monkey 2 code which I've been using, and I've been writing an editor for the objects that exist in that. It's a structure which I have found to work okay. I don't think it's that great. Basically, it's a way of associating graphics with collision objects and implementing a hierarchy of affine transformations. It's not complicated, but anyway, and it sort of provides a layered display of those graphics objects. That's pretty much all it does, but there's a lot of palaver involved in it, and in the process of writing an editor for it, I expanded and made complicated the structures that control it. Making them editable and really thinking about that just turned out to be an interesting but time-consuming process, and also not something I'm trained to do. Not that I'm trained to do anything. The point is, that framework that I'd used variations of quite a few times has exploded into something I don't want to use for this project. Probably most of the parts of it as it stands, if I move to a C++ project, I will implement in C++, but that is for another day. What I want to do is possibly use some of the structures that are in that framework as templates for what I'm going to write now, but I am basically going to write it from the start because it's not that complicated. Certainly the basics of it aren't, without implementing a load of editable functionality into it. And also, I'm going to make it slightly different because my framework as it stands in Editor Current 2020 from 2 years ago uses a modified version of the Monkey Mojo module, that being the graphics part of it. I slightly modified it in a bit of a half-baked way, but just to make it easier for me to push corners to the screen rather than, or vertices I suppose, vertices, rather than sprites. And that let me draw all my curves and dynamic looking shapes very easily, and it was good fun, but it compromised Mojo and did effectively break the lighting system, which didn't bother me too much at the time because I didn't use the lighting system. I was doing lots and lots of things, just, drawing straightforward textured shapes. But for the purposes of this program, I would like to make use of the lighting system. It'll make it look fancier, more easily. I don't think that Mojo has much in it for... Look, I'm always looking at Mojo graphics. What? Canvas. I don't think Mojo has much in it for drawing polygons. Canvas is the big class that controls the drawing routines. You open a canvas, you call the draw routines, and so there are things like draw image, draw rect, some primitive shapes, some images, add light, add to shadow caster, draw text. But what is there here? Draw poly. If I want to draw a textured quad, which they often don't look great, but there are uses for them. I just don't think it's really an option, unfortunately. But I guess this is it. Draw primitives. Draws a sequence of primitives. Convex primitives using current color, blend mode, and matrix. Order of the type primitive 1 points, 2 lines, 3. Okay. Sorry, I'm literally, because of the modifications I made to Mojo, I basically took add vertex and add draw op, I think those were the pair, and made a public version of these two methods, which meant that I did my own matrix modifications and stuff like that. Not cleverly, but that's what I did to transform my own points. And now, to use Mojo as it was intended, I should be using the matrix, the internal matrix, because that will... what am I trying to say? It'll make the lighting work. And that is quite annoying. I say annoying, it's not annoying. It's fine. It's just that it's annoying that I kind of, after all these years, have to go, oh right, how do I use Mojo again? The main thing is, I have to use the internal matrix, because that is what will make the lighting work. Now, is there any way around it? First thing I want to look for is matrix set, like set matrix, push, pop, clear, translate, scale, draw point, draw outline. Yeah. And there is just what? Matrix? Matrix. And there is matrix. Right, yeah, so here, if I set the matrix, it normalizes tan vec. That is the little key, I think. Tan vec is used, I'm pretty sure. Sorry for going straight into this. I'm not talking about what my project plan is, or my game is, or anything. I'm going straight in to basically trying to say what's the first thing I need to know about the way Mojo is going to do its lighting, because that's the main difference in the way my new framework, or my whittled down framework, is going to work to the way my old one worked. I suspect because of this setter property, I will use the affine mat3f class as provided by Monkey, and I'll do my own matrix multiplications, I guess, because then I do them all in one big lump, and well, it still doesn't please me, I must admit. But no, this is what I'll do. Yeah. I will continue to do my own, basically my own matrix multiplications. Because then I do them in a batch. I don't know if that makes sense at all. It's just the way I've got used to thinking about it, and all of that will become more clear to me as I continue to write this. And as always, I've totally forgotten how anything works. So I'll go straight for what code do I have? I have terrible code. Right. These are the parts I want. I am not going to do any of these. Maybe I'll take general, don't know. All of this I'm not taking. I'm not even going to have my GUI. This is all going to be hard coded, and that's going to be mean, but okay. This is the structure of a Monkey 2 program. I have a main function, and I have an app class. Well, I just have a class that extends window. My main must new an app instance and new this and call app run, and that's pretty much it. And then everything in here. I override some methods, mainly on render, but on layout. This is going to be a full screen app when it's finally compiled anyway. So I need to mainly just think about this, and I am just going to nab some bits and pieces. It's going to be this, and this, and then I'm going to remind myself, I don't know why I said it like that, but I'll just take this. And remove this, and I think that I will these things can go. And what is this? This is project 2. I will live to regret this. Okay. Let's have a little think. Clear enabled. Swap interval 1. Clear enabled. False. I wonder if that's a sensible thing to have there. Can't really remember. Anyway. So, this is the absolute basic monkey program. That includes framework. Right. These are the parts of that I will use. Okay. This number I'm just going to leave as is. It should be arbitrary. Anything. It should, this code, as it finally stands, should arrange itself as well as possible onto any screen. So it should be fine to run it like that. This is going to go into project 2. Oh, I hate that. And it is going to be the build file. Now, what on earth else do I want? Let me have a little think about general. General exploded. I'm amazed this is all this is. Yeah, managed objects, got loads of stuff in it. Okay, let's see. Documents, code, editor, current 2020, code, general. I think I'm going to have it. Yeah, it's boring. But yes, okay. So here, copy. Feels strange to do that. Just get me to here. My stupid brain. Okay. I can't even remember how I do this actually. How do I do it? Yeah, code, general. Hang on. Yeah, I don't need this. Code. And I can't bloody remember. Okay. Whatever that is. Forward, back, I don't know. Okay. And I want to open the actual version of general, so I know what I've got. I think I'm going to have to lower my resolution next time I record a video. Now, these boring things. Vertices, yeah. That all needs a round out. Wonder what else there is in here. Nothing much. Oh man, there's not much to this. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So I'm really gonna bend over backwards to just use monkey, mojo. I'll use my own general things here, but actually I shouldn't even use those. I should remember. Monkey has these things, and I must use them because just to be sensible. I'm not trying to make a highly efficient piece of code. That is pointless. Anyway. Let's have a little think about what the general structure of the framework is. Now, in the past I've called one of the big structures in the framework an Xform, which is a strange name, which is just a contraction I once saw of transform, which is sort of what this structure describes. It's an affine transform. It is an X position, a Y position, an X scale, a Y scale, and an angle. And I have had versions of this system which have had skews built in, but I don't think it's worth it. They generally don't. Monkey doesn't. Also, in an Xform has a parent, which is also an Xform. And it has children, which are also Xforms. And this is all local. And then it has its ultimate position, scale and angle, but I don't know, ultimately its ultimate position, scale and angle is a bit different. You know, well, its position, basically, it's depending on its parent's position, scale and angle, it's going to have a position, scale and angle, obviously. You know, this is a tree. Children are orientated and positioned relative to their parents. But anyhow, it just becomes a little bit more, I don't know, vague what a single object's scale is. If it is rotated and its parent is scaled and it itself is also scaled, then it's become a strange angle, a strange shape, and also that using such arrangements you can achieve skews if you do want them. My point is, having a world X scale, Y scale and angle, I don't know if it makes much sense, but I guess that's what the tanvec part of this is about. It's about I normalize. I don't know. My understanding is obviously totally vague. That's why I'm going to leave it to Mojo. What I'm going to do is store a matrix for each Xform. And that brings me on to another thing. Do I want to call it an Xform? It's a transformation. But it's more than a transformation because this structure describes the transformation and this object's position within a tree. So Xform's probably not a good name, and I certainly got less satisfied with the name as the larger version of my framework expanded, because it ended up doing lots of things. So I should probably have a better name something that is pithier. I don't know what. Position does not describe enough. Location still doesn't seem quite right. Another thing that has to be built into this structure is a layer number, a relative layer number, so that an absolute layer number for each object can be figured depending on the relative layer number and the position of this object's parent, the layer number of the object's parent. That's associated completely with the graphics and updating the display, but it is still relative to this object's parent, so it makes sense for it to be part of this Xform structure, but it is another way in which it deviates from a straightforward transformation. Da-di-da-di-da, chat, what's a better name? I'm actually going to do the foolish and turn to a thesaurus. I'm going to go to thesaurus.com. This is like reject all, please. It's like location, area, district, region, no. Whereabouts, section, neighborhood, no. None of these things. Bearings, no. It's okay. Transformation. That's not. That's just not. I did mean transformation. No. Yeah, it's a difficult thing to encapsulate. Position. This is all very similar. Orientation. All of these things refer to different aspects of this one thing. Location. Like, yeah, some of these are similar. I guess. Oh man, I hate this sort of thing. This is exactly the sort of thing I'd come up against in my previous because most of all thinking just of a name. Location, position, orientation. All of these are quite long as well. I'd rather have Xform is short, or just capital X, but that's no good. Or form even. Form is not bad. Form. I think it's going to be form. That's strange. It's a strange name because it can obviously mean form. But it does, yeah. I'm describing the thing's form. Its position, size, angle, parent, children, layer. Its form. It's going to take a while to get used to that, I think, in my brain, but I will give it a go. And I will call it form. Matrix. Determined by a local location and parent form. Used to what am I doing? Used to draw. Used to do loads of things. Doesn't matter, it's irrelevant to write that. Yeah. So usually set by game logic So this sort of, I don't know how to describe this exactly, but what that means, this is the way I've done it in the past and the way I'm going to do it now, is that in the collision space, I could have things occurring at different positions in the collision space and have them rendered to the screen in with sets of objects who have different parents. But as long as those sets of objects share the same parent, they will appear correctly relative to each other. So it does mean just bearing in mind, it's one of the things about this system, which is you could get visual oddities even if the background collisions are all working fine. Things could appear in all completely the wrong position, or the right position, just, you determining it to be. Anyway, God, I'm going to have to practice talking again. My point is, you could deliberately put things in places which are not about where they are in the collision space. You could have them appear in different places, but having objects in the collision space that you do want to appear relative to each other, is, in other words, actually colliding off each other visually on the screen. They have to share the same parent, or at least have parents with equal values. Anyhow, my dog is barking, and I've been talking for 32 minutes. So next time, I'll continue making the framework.